Business Insider made a controversial video. The self-proclaimed self-defense expert said, hey, this is how you get out of a choke. So I'm just going to show real quick what she did. So pretend you're choking me from the back. So this is what she said you do. First, what she called it the slot machine technique. Slot machine, hit him here, which now gets him to kind of release a little bit. So now that he released a little bit, I stomp on the foot, and then because his foot's wounded, now I can elbow him, and then after I elbow him, then I can kick him in the balls, or I can go like this. She's assuming A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D. But if he's choking me, who's to say this is gonna lead to what she thinks, which is he's gonna let go? In any scenario, it doesn't have to be self-defense. In life in general, one thing does not always lead to another. One thing has a million possibilities. You can go nerdy like I am. You could say there may be it's a 0.01% chance that me hitting him will lead to him letting go. But what else could you do? Let's say what else could he do if let's say I'm like this. What else could you do if I'm like this? Boom. I don't know. Maybe he can choke harder. Oh, right? That's a simple one. And so that's the first criticism.
Let's talk about what you're starting with. You need to know the difference between a trach choke and a strangle, a blood choke. All right. So if your windpipe is being prevented, you have about 8 seconds. That's maximum. You have about 8 seconds to think about being choked. If you're being strangled, that means you don't have blood going through your carotids to feed your brain. You've got 3 seconds maximum. Let's just deal with the worst case scenario. A 3-second strangle, meaning that the elbow is pretty much directly lined up with my trachea and that my carotid is being cut off by his bicep and by his forearm. Let's say that Jerry is taller than me and stronger than me. All right, this is worst case scenario. From a BJJ background, the first thing that I'm going to want to try and do is try and grab the hand that's behind, that is locking in the rear neck choke. All right, so he's got his palm in the crevice of his elbow. This hand is behind my head. I'm going to try and grab that hand and break it forward. Does that make sense? To undo the lock. Let's say the guy's super strong. Jerry's super strong. I can't get it. I've got 3 seconds of reaction time. I'm going to take my thumbs. I'm going to stick them directly in Jerry's eyes, which are over here. And I'm going to force my thumbs into Jerry's eye sockets until he screams. All right, I've got 3 seconds to do this. If you're going to die, make him pay for it.
You see how when we were demonstrating the rear naked choke, we actually used the left hand. If you look at the original video, this is what she was doing. That's a cuddle. That's like, oh, Rob, I love you so much. That's a cuddle.
So here's the other thing. Let's say Jerry has got this in real tight. Go ahead and lock it in.
Yeah.
So Jerry's got this in real tight. Now, in this case, again, I'm going to try to unfold it. I'm going to go for this hand. I'm going to try and bring it in front. I do have an arm bar here on my shoulder. Yeah. The other thing is I can take Jerry's head. I can take the crown of his head, and I can take the back of my head here. And if I shove it right into his orbital bone, if I pull down his head and push my head back directly into his orbital bone, you can fracture this skull. And it's very painful. Even if it doesn't fracture completely, it's still very painful. Okay, so let's say best case scenario, Jerry's got me, he's bigger, he's stronger than me. You want to go ahead and look at the Vas Rutten School of Defense in this method. So what you can do, you got to think about what's coming next. If he's going to try and pull you to the ground, the best thing that you can possibly do is try and break this, 2 hands on one, create a little bit of space here for you to breathe, and tuck your chin. Get your chin underneath the arm. Now, he might crack your jaw in this process, but a cracked jaw is better than going blacked out, in which case you have no control over what he's doing whatsoever. If you do break this, and you are able to get free, and now you're on the ground, what you do want to do is you want to have your back on the ground, in which case he's going to try and transition into mount, in which case you can go ahead and try and trap his legs in your legs, secure half guard, then go ahead and work your way to full guard.
And just to add, our self-defense expert from Business Insider said, don't worry about the choke.
Always 2 hands on one, meaning whatever is the immediate threat, you're going to go ahead and create a pocket, tuck your chin, dig your chin directly into the flesh of their forearm. It's very painful. Create that pocket and prevent that from being locked in terms of choking you out. But the best defense in securing half guard and then back to full guard you want to go ahead and look up Gustavo Gasperin. Gustavo Gasperin is a phenomenal black belt underneath Fabricio Verdum. He's the one that taught me. Let's say for whatever reason, Jerry, if I'm able to do this, right? Let's say I'm able to go ahead and secure this. I tuck my chin. I prevent the choke from happening. I'm still going to try and work the arm bar here, right? Once I do this, I can wrap my arm around it, and then I can do 2 hands on one here. I can try and bring this down. Now, a couple of things. You can go behind, grab the hips, bring them up, and throw them down. It goes to side control immediately. Or if you're really devastating and you want to F them up real fast, once you've got this taken care of, this baseball bat grip here, you can go down here and ankle pick him. He's got his ankle right in between your 2 legs. You grab that ankle and you rip it up right in between your legs, and it's an immediate knee bar. Now you've just ripped his knee completely out.
You have potentially 3 seconds, so you have to deal with this. It's not like what the expert said in Business Insider. Don't deal with this.
Yeah, 3 seconds max on a strangle, 8 seconds max on a trach choke. All right, so we're gonna bring in Gabby. Gabby is my producer. She's amazing. She's gonna demonstrate how this works. So as soon as Gabby's going about her business, yada yada, some really professional attacker decides to throw in a rear naked choke immediately, and it's a perfect form. She undoes it, good, and she's got the arm bar right there, good. 2 hands on one, perfect. Pulls this down, and now she can go ahead and, yes, in the immortal words of Bas Rutten, heel to the bulls. Heel to the bulls.
Bas Rutten's fun, ladies. You should watch.
And remember, you see, she only did the heel to the balls after she got him out of his dominant position over her.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing. All these self-defense experts, they're teaching when someone has you in a dominant position, it doesn't matter what you do to the person can do the same back to you with more devastation. So see, after she got out of that position where she's weak, then she could do the ball or whatever.
Yeah.
Typically, whenever you're in a situation like this, if the attacker is bigger and stronger than you, again, 2 hands on one, pull it down, tuck your chin. Then she's gonna drop her hips. If she drops her hips, what she's preventing me from doing is basically throwing her. And a good rule of thumb in judo is that whenever 2 people are in a clinch, you want to drop your hips as low as you possibly can to prevent being thrown. So if she drops her hips, boom, it's harder for me to throw her. She can then displace her weight, maybe put her leg behind my leg. Now she's in charge. She goes, buckles me, I'm going backwards. All right?
It all happens really fast. And I know you, Rob, and Rob is a good friend. I know he never hurt me, but even just him coming up behind me and putting his arm around me, my heart started to race really fast. So be prepared for that.
Yeah, put yourself in the simulator a couple of times so that you know how to compose yourself under pressure, so that when the time does when it does occur to you,
you know your body
instinctually.
Yeah. I actually recently had someone in downtown LA try to clock me from behind. Actually, it was this thing we're just passing, and I guess she didn't like the way I was looking at her or something. Thankfully, I saw her. I turned to my right to talk to my buddy, and she was coming behind me with like an arm bar, and I just ducked really fast. And it was one of those things that I had literally just thought, if she turns around to attack me, will I be prepared to like handle it? And it was that little split 3 seconds of thought, like, I wonder what I would do. It seriously prepared me for the turn. I saw the arm coming, I just dropped and just walked like I avoided her. I didn't go in for it. But
situational awareness, that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
You have to be careful.
Yeah.
Don't be on your phone. And this is something I give some credit to the self-defense expert. I went on her site, I did some research on her, and she was like, when you open the door, make sure you open with your shoulders so you can look, don't be on your phone, make sure you know how to use any self-defense weapons. A lot of people have mace or pepper spray, but they've never used it. So you get attacked, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that part I like about her, and situational awareness, what Gabby's saying.
Yeah, I saw, just knowing something felt like not right allowed me to have a quick little, what would I do if she does come back?
Yeah,
and it was that prepared me really fast for it. Like, it's really important. You hear about people just on their phone, just walking into like gutters in New York. So put the phone away, ladies, when you're walking around at night especially.
One last thing, after you do tuck your chin and you buy yourself a little bit of time, once you're able to pull that arm off, Jerry, can you go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
So let's say I'm here, oh no, I know that he's locking in this choke, I want to prevent it, I tuck my chin, I know that I've got a little bit of time. Now this is wildly uncomfortable, but at least I'm not being choked. I've got my 10 shut, I might lose my jaw, I might be cracked, and I might, lose some teeth or whatever it is, but at least I'm not getting choked. I'm pushing up on his elbow and so forth. Once I have this down, nobody really thinks about this a lot, but there's a wrist lock here that's very painful. I can rip his wrist entirely. Like, all I gotta do is grab his fingers, hold his wrist. I can entirely destroy all of the connective tissue that's in his wrist, rip it completely. Now he's only operating with one hand. So be thinking of that. You've got the arm bar here on your shoulder. You've got the wrist lock here where you can just rip all of these connective tissues. You can break fingers. There's a lot of things, there's lots that you can do from that position.
And again, he's addressing the choke, right? He's not doing slot machine hitting the gut to hope the person lets go.
Right. Yeah, there's certain things that are pretty instinctual desperation moves, but you have to sort of compose yourself under pressure. 2 hands on one, immediately tuck your chin. First case, first operation of defense.
Yeah.
And then work from there.
Because just
3 seconds.
Yeah, that placement right here, my adrenaline shot up really fast. And I know wrong. And I know it was coming. And I was still like, and that's the first thing you want to do is be able to breathe again. So
right.
I think for most women, that would be the most instinctual, is you're gonna grab here and try to at least make sure your airway.
Here's the good news. The good news is that because ladies have they have less muscle mass here and in their shoulders, it is harder for the choke. Like if you're in a jiu-jitsu class, typically it's harder to submit very proficient women because either they're more flexible or they have a gap here where you're doing an arm triangle and they just simply won't tap because they've got extra room. So ladies, you have that going for you, which is awesome, but don't forget, like you said, tuck the chin, buy yourself some time, try to peel that hand off, use those nails, eye gouge, and then right here, this nerve, it's right underneath the nose. Oh, that is so painful. Rip a nostril, do the whole deal. Rip ears out. If you can get a hold of the throat, obviously, this right here, very easy to rip out. The trachea, very easy to rip out.
But, yeah.
And we talked about force multipliers. I mean, I carry around a tactical light. So what a tactical light does is it's very bright. I don't know if this can register, but it's very bright. And on top of that, it's got little jagged edges. So as a lady, you should be carrying some sort of force multiplier. So now she doesn't just rely on jiu-jitsu or self-defense techniques. She can have a force multiplier.
Yeah.
Jam that into someone's eye, or use the jagged edges, hit them in the balls or something.
It's kind of scary what you can do in a dangerous situation like that, in terms of you can kill somebody, you just have to be prepared for that. There was one time when I was in a street altercation where ahead of time I'm thinking, once this guy, if he gets knocked out, how can I prevent him from hitting the ground? Because then I'm thinking, oh, he might he might die or whatever it is, and that's on me. So you can't think about that, unfortunately. If you're being attacked, you just gotta prevent, the attack.
And part of it to get into that, okay, if I don't fight back, I'm gonna die. I have to fight back. It's just a practice. You have to get practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So go to your BJJ gym, go to your MMA gym, and practice.
Mm-hmm.
Get choked out a lot and then learn how to prevent it. You'll start to understand the varying degrees of how tight a choke is, whether it's a trach choke, whether it's a strangle, and then you know how much time you have before everything sort of becomes tunnel vision and then you black out.
And the final thing I wanted to add is a lot of times if someone's going to rob you, maybe they're not going to. So the choke is something to prepare for, but there's other things that attackers, like she said, the lady came and tried to swing at her. That's something maybe that would happen more.
Yeah.
So be trained for a variety of situations. Don't just watch one video and say, oh yeah, I know how to deal with choke. I can deal with attackers on the street.
Yeah. Just be aware. Just be aware of your
Just
surroundings.
watch bass ripping. Yeah, be aware.
You'll have a laugh.
Heel to the balls.
Heel to the balls.
Oh, looky, what I have here. I smash his head. I smash it. I'm sorry, you talk to my wife that way, I have to break your leg. Smash.
Yep.
Anyway, that's it.
Well, let's thank Rob. Let's thank Gabby.
Thanks, guys.
Fight commentary breakdowns.
Hey.